The problem, obviously, is to keep it up. No matter what creative activity we are talking about, we learn it not by means of theory, but by means of practice, regular practice. Because it's less about knowing what, but knowing how. It's about skills. And we need to hone our skills by practicing them over and over again. That is far from new. It's the well-known principle, learning by doing. I think I've mentioned it before. Learning by doing, yes. And it doesn't seem so complicated after all, does it? Just do the thing. But what is the thing? In content creation, as well as in art or science, so in creative or academic writing or in writing non-fiction, the thing is to transform ideas into some kind of public contribution, be it an artwork, a book, or content. This broad term that can mean practically anything, even art, I would argue. Now, transforming ideas into content seems to be quite a big thing. The whole creative process up to the finished work eats up a lot of time and energy. It's hard to keep it up in the long run and to stay on top of things. But where does the actual thing take place? The transformation of ideas. Not in the overall process, but during the brainstorming, the planning and the writing. When we think about creative work, improvisation comes into mind. And it plays a big role for sure. But another thing deserves a little bit more attention, and that is the very thing that precedes any creative endeavor, or that any creative endeavor, any creative project begins with in the first place. And that is the organization of your thoughts and ideas in the form of notes. That is where it all starts, taking notes. Note-taking is part of personal information management, a fancy term for trying to master all of your personal files and notes and tasks and goals. Of all the information that surrounds us, it's about deciding on what's important, what is relevant to me, to my life, my work, and how do I hold on to it so that I can work with it creatively. So if the first principle of creative work is the obvious one, learning by doing the thing, and the thing is finding, capturing and transforming ideas, the second principle is this one. Organize your setup. It's a little less well known, so let's talk about it. While improvisation is a key element to the execution, the realization of any creative project, it tends to get in the way in the early stages of creative work, where organization helps us much better. Being well organized gives us more time and headspace to improvise in the first place and to try things out in the creative process. Organize your setup. This can be applied to shooting a video or editing footage as well, of course. But what about the questions at the very beginning? Questions like, what task do I start with in the morning? How do I find a topic that's good to work with? Or how do I find a niche or a name for my creative endeavor? Those who struggle with these questions should start with their note-taking setup. And that means with the organization of the way we take notes so that first, nothing gets lost, nothing important. And second, so that the growing collection of notes enhances one's own ability to work and think creatively. Getting a handle on this one thing is the solution to the problem of keeping it up. A good place to start is the book How to Take Smart Notes by Sönke Ahrens, a rather enlightening reading experience, at least for me. This is the revised and expanded edition from 2022, but I think the first edition from 2017 already covers the enlightening part. The key takeaways from this book can be found on takesmartnotes.com. And a great tool to implement the tips from this book and for a systematic approach to note-taking and much more is the app Obsidian, which is free for personal use and which I can highly recommend. I use it every day. More about this tool, this book, and personal information management in general another time. Until then, here you can find a few videos that might interest you. Thanks a lot and see you next time.